What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize of our great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Kind of been spinning our tires here on this program, but at least on Wednesday, ended up having a decent enough day. Profitable there purely because of, Corey Seager, 2+ bags. That was on this program, obviously. Ended up getting that one in the premium Discord, but almost swept all the pitcher props, and there were a ton of them. They were popping today. We ended up on the under of Holmes, the Mets version of Holmes there, under on his outs, 17.5. Ended up on the over of outs, 14.5. For one Austin Gomber. That was a scary one, obviously, anytime you're going to Coors Field and you're backing a Colorado Rockies pitcher, but that came to fruition. Hunter Brown over 6.5 strikeouts. That cashed easy. We got the over 4.5 there, or sorry, over 5.5 for Yusei Kikuchi. I say Kikuchi. It was beautiful stuff until he gets out of the game, and then the Angels get absolutely bludgeoned. That hurt my feelings, but what hurts my feelings more is even though I ended up slightly profitable here on the day, and obviously didn't do great on this video, I didn't hit any home runs, not on Lindy's long balls, the short here over on YouTube, but also on the thread over on X at Eric Lindquist. That's where you can follow me. ERIC, I spelled like C for correct, so there's that. But Lindy 5, you guys can check out the premium Discord, get all of my plays, all of my home runs, which are generally hitting. I mean, obviously that's kind of the calling card here of this program the last couple of years is how good we've gotten in that department. You know what? I might actually share something. I'm just kind of been thinking about it, and I have the watered down version of the graphics again today. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Thank you for asking, but we should just kind of get ourselves into it, shall we? Obviously, I just brought it up, but you can take a look at the graphics here, but I want to talk through a little bit of the home run process later on in the program. So I'm actually just going to set up the presentation to screen share one thing that I think is really interesting. So we're going to do that. Share. All right. So we'll get to that in a little bit here. That's not going to be the start of this entire session, but I do think that it is very valuable to go into the leaderboard section and show you what I think about my one home run play and why I didn't think it was too short of odds in Coors Field yesterday. But yeah, if you guys want to get all the information, you can talk through all of it. I'm in there way too much. Just ask my wife. But Lindy 5, $5 for your first week. I love my wife. Let's get to the plays. All righty, y'all. Oop. Wowzer. There they are. Minnesota at Miami. We have early baseball, and it's nice that they stagger. We go Minnesota at Miami. We go Houston at Colorado. And then we have a normal slate on a Thursday. 8 more games coming your way, 10 in total. But Minnesota, Miami, probably my least favorite. One, the ballpark's just stupid. I really don't like Miami's ballpark whatsoever. I've been there. It's fine. It's just nobody was there. The game environment, it feels like you're watching. It's not even feeling like AAA. I feel like AAA has more like impactful ballpark experiences. The coolest thing that happened in Miami's ballpark was the Japan-USA game. That is by far the coolest thing that has ever happened in that ballpark. There was a cool home run derby once upon a time too with like, not slides out there like an American Family, but they have they have some weird shit out there. Anyway, we got Minnesota, Miami, and David Fiesta. He has a changeup. It's really good. Everything else he throws gets completely tuned up. So be very careful, my friends. Be very careful because you know what happens? Pain and suffering. Also, David Festa going up against a Miami Marlins lineup that changes so much in its current iterations. I mean, today I looked at it and I'm like, shit, no wonder Joe Ryan didn't exactly have the best of all outings. Simeon Woods Richardson. I hate this. Being a Twins fan is absolutely the worst. Why did my parents have to be from Minnesota? I grew up in South Dakota. That's probably great faces, great places, South Dakota. I'm dead inside. Anyway, I don't live there anymore. Detroit at Washington here, and Riley Green. It's kind of a running joke now amongst the Discord and on X. People just saying thank you, because if you just play my leans on home runs over the course of the last, 2 months, you're printing. Actually printing. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I know people who do it. That's why I take the time and attention to put in the analysis that I do. I want you to know it. Jake Irvin is on the mound here, and he's the second worst pitcher I have in my model for tomorrow. Bet you can guess the first. The Elder Wand? Yeah, he's in action. We'll talk about him on the next slide. But Riley Green, he ends up going double dong today. Kerry Carpenter doesn't end up in that lineup, so dinged up still. I mean, obviously, he is such an important piece, but that hamstring is... Did you have to let it linger? That was a banger back in the day. New York at Toronto. What a banger of a game that was. 11-9. Probably the most exciting baseball game that I've watched in some time. There was heroics. Aaron Judge goes yard, followed by Toronto. And I didn't even have anything outside of a Jazz Chisholm. I tried to say Chisholm. Kind of a cool nickname. Anyway, New York taking on Toronto in this one. The money line on the Toronto side, I definitely trust it a lot more than the inverse. I think you could probably guess why when you have Chris Bassett, who gives up so much power to lefties, and Ben Rice ends up leading off today. I expect him to do the same tomorrow. He looked great. Trent Grisham, you have Austin Wells, who ended up pinch running. I think that hand's still bothering him, which is why he's not going to be out there catching, and they didn't have him hit. He only pitch ran in that game, so pay attention to that. Maybe he does get in there for a catching opportunity, but Ben Rice been doing surprisingly well behind the dish for a guy who's been doing this for a week at the major league level. It's like asking, like a football player, hey, go kick the freaking 50-yarder. Call the game. I don't think he's calling the game right now. That's kind of what they were talking on in the telecast. But Jazz, he's still looking good. And now Chris Bassett, he is a far more pronounced lefty split guy. Obviously, he's a right-handed pitcher. The platoon advantage going to Jazz's situation here. Better than plus 400. Again, it was just so trappy the last 2 days. Plus 475, plus 450 against these goobers. I mean, Gaussman and today, Jose Barrios, who obviously gave up more power to righties. Talked about that. Goldie looked at that, didn't end up playing it, but ended up on the Jazz play just purely because of price. Cleveland at Chicago, under 8.5. You're getting neutral wind. It's really weird. Nice golf weather there in Chicago yet again. A little bit of humidity, getting a little bit of sun. Don't forget to put on your sunblock. And no matter where you're traveling to over the course of the next day or two, be safe, be merry, have a great 4th. And if you're up in Canada, oh, hey, happy Canada Day. Wasn't it like yesterday? It was yesterday. Anyway, Cleveland and Chicago. This one's not my favorite game whatsoever. And it's just weird to have like a lefty giver-upper of everything, Luis Ortiz, and really not be all that enthusiastic to play PCA or Kyle Tucker. I think it's very strange. Now, part of that is the launch angle's coming down slightly up against lefties, 9.4 degree launch angle. That's not as high as we've seen year over year over year. I mean, I don't know what to tell you outside of the Corey Seager double dong situation, but 13.9 degrees was the average launch he gave up last year. We're talking a 4.5 degree difference. That is massive for a guy like Luis Ortiz, who's just been a problem against lefties forever. He still is, but I don't feel as good for the homers. And I do think Wrigley Field, one of those friendly confines that I just can't really, again, in neutral weather, what do you even do here? What is it that you would say you do here? I'm sure people ask me that all the time. Hey, Eric's actually producing his stuff. He has a job. That's nice. Oh, crap. See, this is the part about having a freaking self-produced program, is you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes I made. So go ahead, make fun of me. Ha ha ha, point and laugh. Eric, he's got his pants down, although that would be really creepy and strange, but I'm very much wearing pajama bottoms. You would like to see. Very late night in the morning. It's actually the evening, so it's about midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, so that's cool. Anyway, what is the game that I missed? Because I obviously missed something. No, I just put it in twice. Oh, San Francisco, Arizona. Is that in there? San Francisco, Arizona. That's what I missed. So you're going to have to listen to this one. San Francisco, Arizona. San Francisco money line. Again, always good to double check your work. Although, again, I've been in bed sick nonstop. But feeling better today. Looking better. How's the skin? Oh, yeah, skin looks like shit. It's fine. We've got ourselves San Francisco money line, just going to be a lean for me. I'm going to cover the pitchers for you here as well, because I did a lot of analysis on this and, of course, just didn't write it down on the graphic correctly. What an idiot. We got Brandon Pfaadt, and I've said this multiple times if you've been listening to this program, and I've said it on multiple DFS shows over on the Stokastic YouTube channel. I expect Arizona pitchers to have a little bit of buyback this summer. What do I mean by that? The roof's closed. The roof. I mean, my parents have been in Arizona for years and years and years. I've been out there intermittently over the course of the last 9 years, going back and forth. And I can't tell you enough how ridiculous the weather was, how nice it was for that time of year in May. So we had the roof open nonstop in March, April, May, into parts of June. Now, June, I think it's been almost exclusively closed, but then they were on the road for a 2+ week road trip. That is a disaster for the pitchers there at home. Now, their numbers are going to look much better in this situation. And if you go year over year, Brandon Pfaadt got paid. He got paid. So we do expect a buyback, even though I have him as one of the bottom 10 qualified pitchers in my model right now. I don't expect that to be the case going forward. We've seen multiple postseasons where he's been a god amongst men, but there's no doubt that a 49.8% hard hit and a 13.8% barrel percentage, along with a sub 19% K rate, is not exactly the droids that you're looking for. So, yeah, I know it says Cleveland, Chicago twice. Haha, make fun of Eric. But San Francisco, I have a little bit of interest in still. This is not quite the buyback, purely because Robbie Ray's on the mound in San Francisco. They need to drop down and get your eagle on, girl. They're in the middle of it is 3-2. Okay. Arizona put up 2 runs when I wasn't paying attention there. Of course, Mike Yastrzemski. F you, bro. Thanks for your home run a day late that I didn't bet today. Your leadoff home run. That was great. I'm dead inside. Chicago taking on the Dodgers, Los Doyers, and they're in a dogfight against the White Sox. Clayton Kershaw didn't have his best stuff by any means. And, it's one of those bummers because he was 3 strikeouts away from 3K. You're watching the game. You're obviously cheering for him. He only ends up with 2 strikeouts. So we'll see if he even comes back out here. Oh, yeah, he's still out there. Okay, that's cool. Caught stealing. Oh, okay. Michael Taylor. Bad boy. Bad boy. Nuh-uh. Anybody gonna see the new Jurassic Park? I heard it's not very good. But yeah, we've got not a green home run. Man, I did a terrible job with these graphics. Awful job with these graphics. Over 9. Over 9 is the lean on that one. We're not going to be touching it in its current iteration. And to round everything out, this is actually correct. So I effed up these 2. Kansas City at Seattle. And Premium Discord, you don't have to worry about anything because once it gets placed on the old phone, it goes directly to your phone. You have the betting ticket. You have everything. You know my life. Thank God I was profitable today because I didn't really suck when it did. I just wasn't very good. Guess that's the same thing as sucking. Kansas City at Seattle. Still counts. I just had Kansas City at Seattle. This one I don't love all that much. You got a very interesting spot here with Lugo and Brandon, but I'm not a huge fan of trying to go completely nutties with this one. So just kind of stay away from it. It's a ballpark that's difficult. Kansas City really doesn't strike out. Sub 18% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. Nothing about it feels right. I'm trying to find an angle with it. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. There's only 10 games, and obviously the late night hammers are right there. At least I put the games in correctly. What an idiot. What a loser. Speaking of, join my Discord. Lindy 5 would love to have you guys there. And obviously, I have a lot better days ahead of me in terms of graphics, that's for sure. Oop. Whatever. We're just going to keep doing it. F it. We'll do it live. I do want to pull this up, though. Houston and Colorado. So I have a number of different metrics that I really like. Now, I use Add More Funds. I think it's phenomenal. Lefty, righty splits during the NBA season, especially. It is just the best website you could possibly have access to for on-off court data, anything of that nature. But addmorefunds.com, they have an amazing batter versus pitcher. And I don't mean it like that because I don't use BVP in any of my analysis whatsoever. You've never heard me say, oh, he's had 12 at bats. He's 0 for 12. You should target him today because it's a very small sample size. 12 at bats, when we get thousands of them for major league hitters, we get thousands of pitches, almost upwards 3,000, 3,500 pitches in the season for guys who go all the way through the playoffs as starting pitchers. That's a way bigger sample size and something I care way more about over any long-term sample size than these short terms. But there's no doubt that there's, a place for it. I just don't utilize it because I don't think it's relevant in anything that we do on a day in, day out basis. But what I do use all the time, Fangraphs, you're probably familiar with that, and Baseball Savant. So MLB has their own deal where it's StatCast powered by Google Cloud. It's because you've probably seen the commercials a million times like I have as well. Now, there's a couple of different things that you can take a little tour of when you're paying attention to it. Now, I'm going to make it this. We're going to be looking at the main screen here. And this is your exit velocity and barrels leaderboard. But if you go up here and you go to leaderboards and you pull it down even further, I want to look behind the barrel of a 45 because we have batted ball profile. And there's a guy in Houston who pulls the ball in extraordinary amount. Notice how it's grouped. Pull, air, percentage. So batted balls that are pulled in the air. Now, why? Well, why? Cal Raleigh, Isaac Predes. Why would Houston go out and get Isaac Predes specifically? Well, I bring it up all the time. Play to your ballpark. Now, this game is being played in Coors Field. It's not being played in the home ballpark of Houston, but his hitter profile, That's why they traded for Trey Mancini of the Baltimore Orioles back in the day. Real ones remember that, because pull hitters have a short porch in Houston. And 12 home runs, I believe, already from Isaac Paredes going out to that short porch in Houston this season. He pulls everything that he looks at. If you look at his air percentage, it's not as high as that of like the three guys surrounding him here. Rhys Hoskins, Danny Jansen, surprisingly enough, and Cal Raleigh. But fly ball percentage, a little bit lower. Line drive percentage, a little bit higher, 5% higher than we're looking at there. But the whole point is that this pull air percentage, why am I highlighting it here? Why do I care? Well, because Coors Field has the wind blowing out to left. Again, it had it today. It had it yesterday. Now, we can look historically on Fangraphs and see, what happens with 10-mile-an-hour wind out in the ballpark? We can take a look and see historical values on what happens. And Isaac Paredes' batted ball profile against anybody is going to look pretty damn good. It's going to look really good in a ballpark where, as long as that is the weather that holds true, I would have bet him plus 310 today, purely because how I do the break-even numbers. There's a number of things. Again, we're a data company over at Stochastic and OddsShopper, and that's really what I care about the most. But I care about you getting good value. And anything better than plus 295 is going to be what I consider value here in this spot. Hopefully you enjoyed this, at least taking a little tour, humoring me, if you will. But it's another lefty, Kyle Freeland, that's going to be on the mound here for today. 302 expected batting average. So the ball gets put in play. 10-degree launch angle. That's enough with Paredes. I think he does it today for us. So I'm going to be betting it. You should be betting it. Again, post over at the exchanges if you need to as well to get a better number. But anything, that the plus 310 number would be beautiful again. Plus 320 would be, knocking some socks off. We got plus 350 today. Milwaukee, New York. So obviously New York, concrete jungle where I hope there's not a lot of action going on. And hot, humid, ridiculous. But two southpaws on the mound. Broke down Jose Quintana. I don't really like what I'm seeing from him, but one thing he's been very effective with is the barrel percentage, 6.9%. He's thrown the sinker a ton, like nearly 50% usage. And another beautiful thing that you can do on Baseball Spot. I'm not going to do the tour for the entire thing because I know a lot of people don't really care. Hey, Clayton Kershaw got that third strikeout. Air 5. 3,000 strikeout club. He comes out of the game 100 pitches. Okay. Just wanted to see where he was at there. Also ended up in Kansas City money line there in the 7th in a dogfight. They were up 1-0. Then Randy Rosarena is apparently what the kids call hot right now. He hits a homer. Now there's 2 on in the 7th. This is going to get very, very sketchy. But no Cal Raleigh that was in the lineup today. He'll probably pinch hit here and ruin my life at the end of this game. Can't wait. At least I know it's coming. Anyway, we've got a very interesting mix with Jose Quintana because the breaking run value has been pretty good for him so far this season. And even though the strikeouts have been a career low 15.9%, 3.30 ERA is the best mark he's had since 2022. I didn't believe it when I saw it at first. He's finding ways to be effective. Now, he's got revenge in his heart, I'm sure, taking on this Mets team. But David Peterson, I expect negative aggression for him, but not in this spot. He gets to take on some kind of easier matchups. I mean, Rhys Hoskins, very strikeout prone. Jake Bauers won't be in the lineup. Christian Yelich, who also the kids would call hot here at the moment, but neutralize him a little bit with a lefty out there. I like under 8.5. This one is a little bit juicier, minus 115, but I'm all right with it. I got down with it. Drop down, get your eagle on, girl. It was beautiful stuff. Hit that like button if you could as we round out the program, and I promise I'll do a better job of that going forward. Somebody called me a little whiny bitch the other day. I was like, oh, okay. I have no point to saying that other than I probably am. The Angels taking on Atlanta. And yeah, I'm a little bummed out. We got an awesome outing from Yusei Kikuchi. I wish I had just given you the strikeouts here on this program, but had it in the premium Discord, had plus money attached to it, 5.5, and got there pretty easily. I think he covered up to 7 or 8. But yeah, regardless, I didn't have the ladder. I'm just looking at the profile that he had for strikeout stuff, and it looked very, very nice against Atlanta. And then comes out of the game, and they kept giving a leash to that ridiculous, I can't even say his last name, just threw meatball after meatball after meatball, and Sean Murphy goes yard, and Matt Olson goes yard, and it's just relievers sometimes just suck when you've got a nice plus money line with closing line value, and it doesn't come to fruition. I won't get closing line value every single time, but a majority of the time I will. But it's Jose Soriano versus Bryce Elder. And Soriano, he's been awesome at one thing and one thing only, and that is inducing tons of ground balls. And that's why I was kind of excited about him at the beginning of the year when we saw some strikeout upside. I mean, against some bad teams, but regardless, strikeout upside against like the A's and such. But we're talking a 66.7% ground ball percentage, 2/3 of balls in play. That's a ridiculous number. And it's by way of a sinker and knuckle curve combination that are just nasty. I love to see it. But I expect it to get tuned up to some extent still, too. I mean, the ball is getting put in play a lot. 47.7% hard hit, 10.8% walk rate doesn't help. Launch angle sweet spot looks awesome. Launch angle way down, brought that up. But talking 262 expected batting average, the highest mark of his career, 3 years in the bigs. There's a reason that it hasn't necessarily worked out all the time. And then, well, we are definitely targeting the Elder one. This is one of the worst pitchers in baseball. For surely the worst pitcher. I mean, even on this Brave staff that is just, how many guys are they going to lose over the course of this season? Sorry, Cody, in the premium Discord. But 47.2% hard hit, 377 xWOBA. Can't tell you enough how much I want to target him, but not going to do it with Soriano here today. Over 9.5. Let's get ourselves the heck up out of here. Once again, Lindy 5, just so I can move my computer and not be ridiculous, and I don't have to edit it as much in the old lab. Adobe is really pain in the ass right now. But anyway, we got ourselves $5 for your first week. I'm learning new things. Like college all over again. We're not going to talk about that. Pretty much just that before. I'm done. And that does it for another edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this insane slate we got before us. Yeah, 3 plays officially on the card here for right now. Isaac Predes, your home run play. We get the home run plays rocking again last week. Put $1 and got a car. 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 And now, dongless. Could you be so dongless? I'm going to end the program now. Until next time, friends, we'll see you tomorrow for the 4th of July. Be safe, be merry, wherever you're going, whatever boat you're on, have fun for me because I'm going to be here working for that money. Go to Geico for your money. That's 2 Kanye's in back-to-back, and he's crazy, so we're not going to do that anymore. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Thursday. See you on Friday. Bye.